లేదు మేడం, నేను చెప్తాను మేడం. Good
Okay, sir.
afternoon to all. Good afternoon to all. This is Dr. Prasad Babu, Deputy Director IGNOU Regional Center, Vijayawada. Today we have the MA Psychology second year, MPCE-046 Positive Psychology is a common paper for all the MA Psychology second year students. We have resource person, Professor P.D. Vimana Madam is here. Madam is from Acharya Nagarjuna University. Madam is Professor of Psychology. Already everybody knows about Madam. Today also Madam will take the positive psychology session, and again one more session, 21st of March, Thursday, another session is there. So this class will up to 5 o'clock. If you have any clarifications or doubts, last 15 minutes you can ask the questions. Madam will clarify. We will also involve in the doubts clarification session. Thank you. Madam, please carry on, Madam.
Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Sank, I think it is audible.
Yes, Madam, audible.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. Now, this is a paper on one of the papers which was introduced instead of project by IGNOU. And this is the, I think, first time we are having this foundations of positive psychology. The main objective of this paper is, this is we can say that it is a branch of psychology too, but with a different objective it was emerged. Till now, the psychology is, all of you might be knowing about, it is the study of behavior, and we are studying why a person is behaving in this fashion, what are the reasons behind that, and you will try to find out the reasons and do some activity, and all these behaviors are being modified for the benefit of the individual by using scientific procedures. In this process, the total psychology and research is mainly focused about changing the modification of behavior of the individual. Modification, because the person is having certain problems, challenges, or sufferings, and we want to modify the behavior for the benefit of the individual. This is the main activity. Hence, the research is focused on weaknesses and problems, challenges, mental disorders, emotional negative emotions. Emotions means in psychology, we talk about only negative emotions like anger, jealous, fear, and all the things. Sadness, all the things we talk about only negative emotion. So this has become, the psychology has become a subject which is dealing only with the challenges and try to improve the behavior, try to modify the behavior for the benefit of the individual. So in this scenario, during 1992, 10 to 20 years, lot of research was conducted on how to make the psychology in a positive way, so always focusing on negative things and repairing the behavior, I think, overcoming the weaknesses. Instead of that, why should we study about the other aspects in this area? In this scenario, Seligman, most of you might be knowing him, as he is the, his concepts earlier were learned helplessness and optimism. These are the two concepts he focused earlier before emergent, before starting this positive psychology. He is well known for his concepts of learned helplessness. People learned helplessness. It is a learning aspect. So people learn to be unhappy. So that's why they are helplessness. And also some people, they learned optimism. So the people who learned optimism are working, are behaving towards positive things, whereas the persons who learned helplessness, I cannot do this, I am helpless, nobody to support me. So these type of people, they work towards negative scenario and developing lot of psychological disorder. He's well known for his these two concepts of learned helplessness and learned optimism earlier. So after he's a well-known psychologist, even then he's a professor of Pennsylvania University in the Department of Psychology, and he is also a clinical psychologist who did lot of research on this in psychology, and he come out with the concept of positive psychology in 2000. In 2000, and we can say the Seligman as the founder of positive psychology discipline, positive psychology branch. So, what is a positive psychology means? His emphasis is totally on happiness and no voice.
Madam, no voice.
Okay,
Voice. Ah,
is it not audible?
okay, madam.
Okay, okay.
Now,
So the entire so their emphasis is on happiness and well-being. So Seligman's positive psychology, the total emphasis is on happiness and well-being. How to develop happiness? How to develop well-being? What are the activities which brings happiness, and what are the actions which bring well-being? As all of you know, well-being is the concept given by UNO. It says that physical, psychological, social, and spiritual health. Totally, we can call it as well-being. A person is having well-being means he is having physical health, psychological health, social health, and spiritual health. All these are the components of well-being. So, Seligman focused on happiness and well-being. His main concept of positive psychology is how to develop this happiness, sustained happiness, and sustained well-being of individuals. For that, and later on, for that, he has focused on uh, some of the activities like sustained happiness. Remember that sustained means long term happiness. For that, he developed gratitude, forgiveness, altruism, optimism, hope. All these are the components. If you practice this, if you learn these aspects, positive emotions like joy, happiness, love and affection, positive emotions, creativity, forgiveness, gratitude, optimism, hope. These are the activities, these are the practices which make a person happy, and it is for sustainable well-being. That is his concept. Many of the psychologists joined with him. Ryan Carroll, who introduced the word psychological well-being. PWB, we used to say subjective well-being and psychological well-being. So the concept of psychological well-being is being given by Carroll by his studies. So Daniel, Ryan, all these conducted many studies on this, and they supported and they introduced it for flow. Flow means you should involve. India, you should totally involve in an activity. A state of intense involvement in an activity is called a flow. So he focused on all these aspects, how to develop these aspects in life, how to develop these aspects in life, which totally makes us, which gives us sustainable happiness and well-being. So these are the concepts given by Seligman. Seligman, he tried and developed so many aspects, so many actions, so many, he conducted so many experiments. So all these experiments are being given by him for practice also. For practice also. His observation method, his research, all this created this positive psychology. So this is as this is going on. So many psychologists joined, some contradicted it, and some has criticized this concept of positive psychology. And in 2011, a Paul Wong, Paul Wong, he's from a Canadian psychology professor, psychology professor. He didn't contradicted completely, but he added something. We can say that he emphasized the importance of pain, suffering, and sorrow in human existence, and their relevance in developing happiness, well-being, and meaningful life. in 2011. He introduced without pain, without suffering, and without sorrow, we cannot make human existence. And this definitely, this has a relevance in developing happiness and well-being and meaningful life. So he also introduced the importance of Seligman only focused on positive aspect, whereas this Paul Wang, a Canadian psychologist, he introduced pain, suffering, and sorrow as the components without which you cannot develop happiness and so existential. So hence he called it as a existential positive psychology. These two are positive psychology only, but in practice, Seligman's theory is called as a positive psychology 1. He only focused on positive things, whereas this Tolman's theory, this introducing pain, sorrow, and suffering, negative things also, for developing positive well-being and happiness. That was called as a positive psychology 2, PS2 and PS1. These are the two, I can say that two ways. So this positiveness 2 is called as a existential positive psychology. Thus, Paul Wrong's is called as a Paul Wong's. Paul Wong's positive psychology is called as a existential positive psychology, and Seligman psychology is called as positive psychology. So the research is going on in both the areas. So uh, really, the positive psychology is focusing on developing positive emotions and all the things I told you as positive emotions, strengths, virtues. So all these, if you develop all these, you will have happiness and well-being. Whereas with reference to pain and suffering, the positive psychology too has focused on that, and that is called as existential positive psychology. So now you are clear about there are two ways the positive psychology is being studied. One is Seligman's way of totally focusing on happiness, and the second is the Wong's way of existential positive psychology, where the pain, suffering, which has a role in developing happiness. And so there are so many differences out there. Still, the research is going in both the ways to develop in the process of positive psychology. So positive psychology truly focused only on positive aspects like creativity, optimism, hope, strengths, virtues, and all the things. Whereas uh, this Wang's existential positive psychology focused both on a positive and negative aspects, both positive and negative aspects. So in the positive psychology, totally avoided the topics of suffering and death, whereas this also is being included in existential positive psychology. So, uh, so flourishing is achieved through focusing on positive things. Flourishing can be achieved through focusing on positive things. This is flourishing is being achieved only by focusing on positive things. Whereas this existential said flourishing is achieved not only through confronting the dark side of human existence, confronting the dark side of human existence. Like that, both of them are doing the same positive psychology activity one, but their assumptions are different. So after this, this is the basic introduction about positive psychology. Now we are talking about only the Seligman's positive psychology. The entire book is on Seligman's positive psychology, is being given and followed. Even the suffering is also being given a little bit of role in developing happiness and well-being. So this is with this introduction, there is also another important thing after 2000. They started a GRAS, just like positive psychology, Seligman started GRAS National Happiness Index. This is a great thing by which he was known to everybody. GRAS National Happiness Index. That means the happiness is being measured. Happiness is being measured just like gross national income or gross national development. We are talking about gross national happiness index. So this is the thing which was introduced, and March 20th is being observed 2 days after. Today is 18th, 20th is observed by International Happiness Day. International Happiness Day. By this main objective of this International Happiness Day is to aware the people. The main objective is to aware the people. There is the You should and recognize the people the importance of happiness for their physical, psychological, and well-being. To aware the people regarding the importance of happiness, because of the hectic schedules we are experiencing, because of the competition, because of hectic academic activities are hectic, because of the competition and work culture, working all through 18 to 19 hours, we are missing the we are missing the importance of happiness. Hence, there is a need for throughout the world to recognize the importance of happiness in their lives, every individual's life, whatever, irrespective of the culture, irrespective of the socioeconomic status, gender, and etc. etc. So that's why March 20th, the UNO has decided in from 2013 onwards, March 20th is being celebrated throughout the world as International Happiness Day, where the importance of happiness is being given to all the people. Why you should be happy? Because there are so many lot of research is there behind this, and they also said that the physical health, the hormonal secretion, the mental health, the development of virtue, sustainable happiness and immediate happiness, both are important, and how you have to develop this. And if you are aware of happiness is important, consciously you should be at least happy every day. Should make a program, make time, space some time for being happy. Not always working, and trying to achieve something. In addition to that, make some time, a lot of time for being happy, for immediate, whether it is immediate happiness or how do you develop happiness. All this we will go through later on. So this is the main purpose of this International Happiness Day. In this context, day after tomorrow, we are also conducting in our university, we are conducting a seminar also on this, a workshop with activity oriented workshop to become, how to be happy, what are the immediate happiness things and what are the long term happiness things. So in this scenario, all our students, MS students, are going around the campus in the Nagarjuna University and awareing the people, showing them, assessing their level of happiness with a questionnaire, and then awareing them about the importance of happiness, about its impact on physical health, about its impact on on their mental health and their success. All these are being given awareness by our students in the entire campus. They are visiting different classes. Students, they are asking, the students are also very actively interacting and asking so many questions regarding this. So this is the thing. So in this scenario, the UNO declared March 20th of every year as International Happiness Day since 2013 onwards. So in this scenario, in addition to declaring this, the UNO also wants to measure the gross national happiness index of many of the countries who wanted to participate uh, in this index measurement. So there are more than 155 countries are participating in this measuring of gross national happiness index. So in this index, what do they measure? How do you measure the gross national happiness? So they were given 9 domains of happiness were given by Seligman and other scientists. 9 domains. One is psychological well-being. Carol played a major role here. psychological well-being of the individual. There are indicators to measure this, and also health, education, how you are using your time, cultural diversity, and resilience. So, what is the cultural diversity existing in your country, and the resilience? Resilience means whenever you are struck with a negative experience, when you failed, and when you are attacked with a negative experience, psychologically or physically, how quickly you will come back to bounce back to normalcy. This is called resilience. Every individual is having negative experiences, failures, crisis situation. These are part of our life. When you attack with a crisis situation, how quickly you come back to normalcy is you have to come back to normalcy is resilience. This should be promoted for well-being. We cannot eliminate crisis situations or unhappy situations. So we have to practice resilience. Resilience. So cultural diversity and resilience was taken as one of the domain of happiness, and also good governance and the activated community vitality. How active the community is. Community vitality. That means you are, so if the department or whatever is that, if the group is vital, vitality is more active, then it is happy. It means that it is happy. So community vitality and ecological diversity and resilience. And the ninth domain is living standards. These are the 9 domains which are being identified by UNO for measuring gross national happiness index, and each domain is having altogether among the 9 domains there are 33 indicators are being identified. Basing on this, each nation is studied. So for our surprise, we are also participating. India is also participating in the survey, and this year I have not, I didn't get that. Till last year, I think it is our rank among 155 is 138. So, so one of the 2 MNC companies in Delhi started awareing the people regarding this happiness. We are not consciously thinking about happiness or well-being. Always we want to go away with the work and what are the activities are there for you. So hence, this is about happiness, gross happiness index, and the position of our country is 138. Finland took the first place, and the other countries, European countries are forward, including the Pakistan is before us. We are still backing 138. So we have to improve our this. So here we have to understand this is called as good life. Seligman is also called. You have to promote the good life, well-being, and flourishing of people. This is it also said that good life, well-being, and flourishing. All these are the indicators of happiness and well-being. If we are having all this good life, well-being, and flourishing. Flourishing means developing. Flourishing means developing. So, and one more important thing is this all these happiness and well-being are determined by our cultures. Shape, shapes our culture. There are certain cultures where the happiness is being given highest priority, and they learn from the, it is a learning, social learning process. They make us to be, they teach us, we learn in the socialization process itself to be happy, to be happy. So culture plays a major role. So these are the basic introduction about what positive psychology is, how it is being flourishing in the, we can say that flourishing, developing in all the countries are trying to develop this happiness and well-being. And they also found that there are number of international seminars are being conducted on happiness from now to from 1990 onwards. Many countries, Asian countries, African countries, and all countries, European countries are also conducting, including China also conducted a one international seminar on happiness. So people are thinking of how you should be happy. So the materialistic portions, money, richness, all these are not giving sustainable happiness. How to get sustainable happiness? This is the big question. In this process, we have to think. I told you that culture plays a very important role. Now, if you think about positive psychology, and because we are in India, what is there any relationship in positive psychology and Indian culture? So there are a lot of similarities between positive psychology and perspective Indian perspective of psychology, Indian perspectives of psychology. So the if you think about one of the aspect, the ideas of pain and pleasure, the ideas of pain and pleasure in Indian psychology. What is pleasure as per Indian psychology is there are three types of pleasures human beings. These are I'm telling you about the perspectives of Indian psychology. These are the perspectives of Indian psychology. So Indian psychology is different. Whatever you are studying till now as a cognitive psychology, other psychologies, lifespan development, other psychology branches, or all these are evolved in Western countries, and all the experiments were conducted there. Now, the Indian psychology is with our experience, with our culture plays a major role in developing the behavior and modifying the behavior of individuals. Hence, the process is whatever is the concepts developed in Western countries are being tested, and we are including our cultural aspects also in that psychology. So, this is called as Indian psychology. This is one of the branches of psychology. And as per Indian perspective of psychology, pleasure is of three types. One is sensorious pleasure, means senses, through sensory gratification. We are happy through sensory gratification. What are the sensory? Eating something, looking a beautiful thing, smelling the fragrance of flowers gives us happiness, and eating something tasty, that also gives happiness. So this is the sensual gratification gives us pleasure. This is one type of pleasure. The second type of pleasure is retrospective pleasure, recollecting the previous pleasures. Recollecting the previous pleasures, whatever is the happy things in the previous, and we are enjoying that. We are experiencing pleasure. Those are called as retrospective pleasures. And finally, prospective pleasures. What are the prospective pleasures? Mean anticipating of future pleasure. Anticipating future pleasure, we are very happy. So these are the three types of pleasure the Indian psychology is focusing on. Coming to the pain, what is the Indian concept of pain? What is the Indian perspective of Indian psychologist perspective of pain? Uh, First thing is Adhyatmika. So Indian psychology is basically, it is developed based on our Vedas, Upanishads, cultural aspects, Indian cultural aspects. So uh, Adhyatmika pain means it has, there are two types. One is physical and second is mental. What are the physical pains you experience? Pain symptoms like hand pain, heart pain, chest pain, headache. All these are the physical pains which we experience. And what are the mental pains? Are desires, negative emotions. All these are psychological or mental pressures. So you will have two types of pain. Sorry, two types of pain. One is physical pain and second is mental pain. Coming to the Adi Bhautika, these are the Bhautika which are present, which are materialistic. Next, Adi Bhautika pains means which are caused by external events, not myself. Earlier it was my physic or my mind. Second thing is Adi Bhautika means external events creating pain, like war, like tsunami. What is that recently with Corona? These are the external events which also creates pain. And thirdly, Adi Daivika means which are pain caused by divine factors. Divine, divineness, due to divineness. These are the three types of pains given by Indian perspective. So we are talking about the what is pleasure and pain as per Indian perspective. So the this is one point coming to, we are talking about the perspective of what is the perspective of positive psychology also is developing happiness, developing pleasure, happiness and well-being. So the second point is the positive psychology shares with Indian psychology the goal of elevating human condition to the optimum levels of functioning. We have to develop ourselves to the optimum level. Maximum development is being focused, and by that you can overcome the sufferings and promote from a happiness and bliss. This is Indian psychology. If you, it promotes, so it always, the goal is elevating the human being. You have to elevate yourself. So you might be knowing about that. There is elevation means you have to develop yourself internally. You have to elevate your internal self to above situations where you can overcome sufferings. If you are elevated, you can overcome suffering and promote a form of happiness and bliss. This is the second, the goal of elevating ourselves. Similarly, the positive psychology also tries to, if you use our full potentialities, then you can overcome uh, any of the things which are obstructing your way to overcome the any suffering you can overcome. So this is two things I told you. One, this appears to be an abstract, but in positive psychology, the one chapter is completely being focused on this Indian psychology. That's why I am giving the basics of Indian psychology. Most of you might be knowing about that. I will summarize that so that you can have a understanding of that. So the key concepts of Indian psychology. One of the key concepts I told you about the pain and pleasure. Second thing is about goal of life. Third thing is I'm talking about this positive psychology is focusing on different multi-layered existence of human being. Multi-layered existence of human being. They're having multi-layers. The first layer, what they called is Annamaya Koshas. They said Annamaya Kosha, which is which creates, which by this, what is the physical desire, physiological desires like hunger, all these are related to Annamaya Kosha. So after that, you might remember about Maslow's theory. Like that, there are one after that different koshas are given, whereas Maslow has given different levels of needs. He has given needs. He called it as needs, but we are calling it as koshas. Physiological needs, safety needs, love and affection, self-esteem, self-actualization. All these are given by Maslow, Western psychology. But what we are talking in Indian psychology, Indian culture, what we got, there are different kosas. First kosa is Anamaya. This is equal to physiological desires. And second is from Pranamaya kos, where the breathing is important and also the emotions, the center place of breathing and all our emotions. The second place is Pranamaya. And third is Manomaya, is regarding our mind and Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. Anandamaya is the last stage where happiness and bliss you will find. With knowledge, you will have happiness and bliss. So these are the five koshas developed, five koshas given in Indian psychology. Then coming to the other concept given by them is the Sita Prajna. It is given in Bhagavad Gita. Study of wisdom. This is a desirable state. Sthita Prajna is given in Bhagavad Gita, where this is a state of individual where he won't feel either happiness or unhappiness. He won't feel pain or pleasure. This is called as Sthita Prajna state, which we don't focus on happiness. Happiness is not our concept. Indian concept is Sthita Prajna. Just like this second Wong's theory, like that, if you overcome suffering, you will get happiness and bliss. Sthita Prajna is the blissful state where you don't feel either happiness or sorrow. This is, you will control on the state of bliss. Sthita Prajna is the state of bliss, which is ultimate happiness. Sthita Prajna is another concept. And other important aspect which we focus is on dharma. Dharma for flourishing. So dharma implies, what is dharma? It implies virtues, duties. Virtues and duties. So this is being focused in even Seligman's theory. Virtues, strengths, duties, wisdom, humanity, all these are the strengths given by Seligman also. So here, even in our psychology, in our Indian psychology also, we people has to practice dharma flourishing. So dharma implies virtues and duties. So there is, and we also focus on universal well-being is the goal of Indian psychology. Universal well-being. Even the positive psychology goal is also universal well-being. So in this universal well-being, Abhyudaya, prosperity of, there are two things in universal well-being. One part is prosperity of the world. Worldly prosperity you should get. And second is liberation from suffering and pursuing moksha. These are the two aspects of universal well-being. The goal is bliss. For that, you should do prosper. You should prosper in the world. Worldly things also you should prosper. And also liberation from suffering and moksha and pursuing for moksha. So these are the concepts given in Indian psychology. And are also some other concepts given in Indian psychology are, so I will complete this and I will come back to research methods. So, and then there are some other things given in Indian psychology are this and another concept is Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Vasudaika Kutumbam. Vasudaika Kutumbam means everybody should, we have to look a worldly unit as a one, world as one. This is the concept of Vasudeka Kutumbam, union of entire universe. And there are some other religious practices we follow, yoga, especially. I think I need not explain all these things. Yoga, you might be knowing about yoga. Patanjali Yoga Shastra has given Ashtadasa Marga, and we are using only asanas. Asanas is not alone given by Patanjali Yoga Sutras. There are 8 things. One is yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharma, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the 8 levels. 8 you have to participate in yoga. What we are doing is yoga. If you talk about yoga, it is only asanas. Yoga is not asanas alone. As per Patanjali Yoga Sutra, yoga is You have to follow the yama. Yama means you have to follow certain behaviors like non-violence, morality, truth, non-stealing, and brahmacharya. These are the yama. Under niyama, cleanliness, contentment. I think you can read all these things. Yama, niyama, you should have some rules and regulations, some principles. Asana, pranayama, and regular breathing. Regular breathing is very important. We will total health is dependent on our, it totally depends on our breathing. So you have to always check your breathing style. Are we breathing well or not? This is the most important area. That's why in yoga asana also breathing is given much importance. Pranayama. And then, and it was being suggested by many people for any problem related to our lungs too, for health improvement of energy. And dharana, concentration is very important. Dharana is also given as one of the yoga sutras. Dharana, dhyana is meditation, and all this we are using now. Samadhi is absorption of consciousness. This is a blissful state. So all this you can follow some of the thing. With all yama niyamas, you have to do yoga and pranayama so that you will become a blissful, happy person. So these are given by Yoga Sutras, and you have to develop so many virtues. How to develop these virtues? The virtues are being given in positive psychology too, as given identified. I think 6 areas of virtues like wisdom, creativity, like that, humanity, helping a social community service, like that. He identified so many virtues. Similarly, even our Bhagavad Gita in Indian psychology, also they have given in 16th chapter, he has given lot of many virtues: fearlessness, purity of heart, steadiness, and yoga of knowledge, charity, control of senses, sacrifice. Like that, he has given so many things in Bhagavad Gita also. If you read Bhagavad Gita, he has also given virtues. Positive psychology given certain list of virtues. Bhagavad Gita already has this Indian psychology. Indian psychology, we also will have a lot of virtues given by Bhagavad Gita. And also other thing given in is gunas. Three gunas are given in Bhagavad Gita also. And what are this? Sattva, Rajasa, Tamo gunalu. What is Sattva guna is a discriminated intellect and self-control and generous and gentle and detached and duty-bounded. Is a Sattva guna. Guna is personality. A person with Sattva guna, and everybody is having all the three rajogunas. So he is action oriented, passion oriented, restless. This is what we are having now. And struggling, more desires, strong likes and dislikes, and pursues sensory pleasures and attachment to one of the social roles. We attach to one of the social roles. So these are sattva, raja, tamogunam. In the tamoguna, tamasa guna, what is it? Tamasa people are depressed, lethargic, they neglect work, they are undisciplined, they indisciplined, they are arrogant, hostile, ignorant, uncertain, and dull. These are the important characters of Tamoguna given in Bhagavad Gita. All these three types of personality types are given in. So similarly, even in positive psychology, so we have taken Indian concept. There are 5 or 6 points. One is regarding, you just write down this. Pleasure and pain is one concept we have given. And what is that second thing we have given about the multi-layered existence of kosa, human existence, that is kosas. And third about sthita prajna. And fourth about dharma. Fifth about universal well-being. fifth about universal well-being, and sixth is about yoga, and seventh about the development of virtues, and eighth one is about gunas. So all these are the concepts given in Indian psychology, which are uh, which are also almost similar to positive, which are we are sharing them with the positive psychology. Positive psychology is sharing all these aspects, as the psychology is a culture bound subject, culture bound discipline. So almost positive psychology concepts are all being discussed in Indian psychology too. So in our way, Indian way, by using spirituality, religion, or whatever is that which we are practicing. So hence this is about positive psychology. So I told you what positive psychology. Again, why I am summarizing is because this is you will miss the connectivity. That is the reason I am summarizing again and again. First instant, the first instant. Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes. Then I'll tell you what we have covered till now, so that we will go to the next aspect of research and all the things. So that as many times as I have to summarize it, that's why you may not miss the link. The first thing what we studied is about Seligman's positive psychology and about Wong's Wong's criteria of existential positive psychology. These are the two important areas we covered. And what are the characteristics of these two? And overlapping characteristics are happiness and well-being. Both of them are focusing, but these people's Seligman's approach is different, and Wong's approach is different. Both of them are professors from psychology department only. And then we have studied about International Happiness Day, and also gross national happiness index. What are the criteria of gross national happiness index? And then we have connected the positive psychology, because the psychology is totally connected with the culture. What we have given is what is the perspectives of Indian psychology, which are overlapping positive psychology. Hence we have given all some of the concepts of Indian psychology. So only three aspects we covered. One is positive psychology definitions, second is national index, third is about the Indian perspective of positive psychology. Now we are talking about positive psychology and its relation to other psychologies. Positive psychology's relationship with other psychologies. They are positive psychology is mainly focused on happiness and well-being. Okay. Now, health psychology is also focused on well-being. Hence, they are related. Health psychology, which is also focused on well-being of the individual. Clinical psychology. Clinical psychology, you might be knowing what clinical psychology is. The basic criteria of clinical psychology is assessment of psychological disorders, level assessment, assessment of clinical disorders, and do counseling. So it is also focused on well-being of the individual. And developmental psychology, in which positive psychology, we want to promote positive emotions, develop positive emotions, develop optimism, develop hope, creativity. All this we want to develop during the process of their development. So what are the things which we have to start, when to start? Developmental psychology deals with all the developmental activities of an individual. We also want to include these concepts of positive psychology in the developmental process of the child. Then coming to the personality. So personality is also associated. Personality, as you all of you know, personality is the result of our heredity and environment. If we are providing or developing all these traits, this is environment. And in the environment, we are developing optimism, we are developing hope, we are developing altruism. To develop all this will become a part of his personality, which makes the people happy and which enhances happiness and well-being. So we are being connected, related with personality too. And then social psychology. As we said, social psychology is basically deals with an individual's behavior in a social situation. Social psychology studies not the societies, how an individual behaves in different societies. Similarly, first is we are also studying about how an individual behaves in different cultures, impact of culture. So social psychology means, so that's why we are related to social psychology and religion psychology too. Entire Indian psychology is focused on psychology of religion. So this is the entire, we are having relationship with all other branches of psychology. So I think you might have understood what health psychology studies and what positive psychology studies. There is a relationship. What clinical psychology studies and what positive psychology studies. There is a relationship. What developmental psychology studies and what positive. Like that, you have to write the exact study aspect of the particular branch and what is how it is related to positive psychology. So this is about its relation to different areas or different branches of psychology. So what is the applied aspect of positive psychology? Then comes to the applied aspect of positive psychology. The positive psychology wants applied aspect means application. What is the application? What is the application of psychology earlier was to modify the behavior of people for their benefit, leaving their weaknesses. But what is the applied what is the applied positive psychology's role is instead of repairing, we will build strengths, we will build positive emotions, and we will build virtues. Building strengths, virtues, and positive emotions. Whereas applied positive psychology. Applied positive psychology. What applied psychology is application of psychological principles and repairing. Now we are building. That is repairing work, and this is a building work. This is applied positive psychology. Then the most important aspect we are covering is research in positive psychology. Lot of research is going on in positive psychology to find out what is the things, what are the activities which gives us immediate happiness and also sustainable happiness and well-being. So these are the three important things. So the research is going on to find out. Research areas are on positive experiences, subject to what the situations are. What are the things which gives you subjective well-being, and what are the states of the affective states of individuals? Affective means emotional states of individual. When do people used to feel happy? Happiness is one of the emotions. And also contentment, happiness, hope, flourishing. These are the some of the areas of research which is going on altruism, optimism, how to develop optimism in people, how to develop hope, how to develop altruism, how to build contentment, happiness, flourishing. Flourishing means a state of total involvement is a flourishing. Flow. Flow means flow. We have to introduce flow too. Flow means total a state of involvement of the total involvement in an activity is called flow behavior. So, so this is one thing. This is the individual level. The positive psychology is focusing research on all these areas. building all these things, how to build all these things. They are conducting research. How to build hope, how to build optimism, altruism, happiness, creativity, all this. One aspect. The second aspect is positive individual personality traits. How to develop positive individual personality traits like character, strengths, virtues. These are individual. These are individual characters, individual virtues, and subjective well-being. This is on subjective well-being. How to develop these personality traits. So through socialization process, the research is going on in this area. And thirdly, developing positive institutions. That means having great interpersonal relationship, great interpersonal dynamics, flourishing interpersonal dynamics. So this is the three major areas they used to conduct research. So what are the research areas of positive psychology are the positive experiences, subjective well-being, and affective states of individuals, contentment, happiness, hope, altruism, all this, and flow of behavior. This is very important. Flow is we should involve and do some activity. Flow. We have to flow in the work. Flow in the activity means total involvement in any activities. So then positive individual, developing positive individual personality traits, and also positive institutions having interpersonal, positive interpersonal dynamics, positive interpersonal dynamics. So this is the basic areas of research which the positive psychology is focused upon. And also it also studies about what is the research methods it uses. Positive psychology is a scientific subject, hence it uses observation methods and case studies methods, observations. It studies focus groups, individuals by taking samples, surveys. All these are being used in all these are mainly observation method and case study method and experimental methods are also being used as basic methods of research in positive psychology. I think you have understood about the areas. What are the areas of research in positive psychology and also the methods which were used in positive psychology. I think you have all covered the research methodology in your first year. Hence, I will go through these research methods and assessment in positive psychology. What are the research methods which are used in positive psychology? So I will just, I think it is only the recapitulating whatever you have studied in earlier classes. So the all whatever psychology research method we use in psychology research, all these are being followed in positive psychology too. So let me say about what types of research you will do in positive psychology. We'll talk about positive psychology only. We will study descriptive studies we will make. So we will describe an individual or describe an institution, describe an activity. Description, these are called as a description of all the aspects of particular event. These are called as descriptive studies. Entire thing is being given descriptive studies. One. And the second thing is on we do exploratory studies too. We explore and find out. Explore and find out. And we will also do some predictive studies to find out something. If this is the condition, what is going to happen? These are cause and effect, predictive studies. We will also study correlational study to find out the relations between two factors like optimism and another hope. We can find out the relationship. If the people with, of course, optimism and creativity. Optimism and hope are almost same. Optimism is the thought regarding future success, and hope is an activity oriented for future, for expecting the better results in the future. It is action oriented, whereas optimism is only the thinking. Optimism is only thinking. We don't do anything. We just think future will be happy. That is optimism. Everything will be happy. Too much optimism is very dangerous. Thinking, not doing anything. If you are hopeful, too much hope is useful. If you are having hope and you do something, for hope there is an action, but optimism there is no action, only the thinking. So like that, correlational studies will make, and there are basically three types of research are being conducted in positive psychology. One is pure to develop the concept, pure research, applied research, applied research also where the applications are being tested, applied research, and also we will do qualitative and quantitative research too. We do qualitative research and quantitative research. You might be knowing about the difference between qualitative research and quantitative research. Quantitative research means all the research factors are being uh, use numerical numbers, quantifying. We'll quantify the factors with some numbers. This is called quantitative research. We are measuring gross national happiness index in a number. This is a quantitative research. The quality of the people. Suppose if you are doing some research in how the happiness developed, that means that earlier, and what is the happiness index in 2000, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 24. This is, and we are not giving the number. Here we are qualifying it. What is the quality of research? Quality is different. Quality is character. Quantity is number. So we will do qualitative. We also, what are the qualitative changes occurred in our behavior? Qualitative, quality of happiness and quantity of happiness, both qualitative and quantitative research. Both types of research. Sometimes we use mixed research too. Both qualitative and quantitative will mix and we will do research. These are the basic types of research methods we use in positive psychology. I told you about the research areas and data collection methods and types of research. Three things we covered. One is research areas of positive psychology, data collection methods of positive psychology, and also the types of research of positive psychology. These are the types of research. Then coming to the important aspect of what is the process of research. The process of research, all of course, you know it, but I will just revise it. Just note down the point so that you can recollect what you studied in your research methodology. So here, what are the process of research? The process of research starts, the very first stage, step is to identify the problem. What do you want to do research? What is the area? How can I start my research? Identifying the problem. So how do you identify a problem? Suppose if first level you have to identify an area. I want to do research in positive psychology. This is the broad area identified. Then the second level I am thinking about. What is the most interesting area? Is optimism or creativity or optimism or altruism, whatever it is. I will choose one area. Altruism I took. So what is, this is the second. So I got step by wise from general to specific I am coming. The general positive psychology to next step is I decided to go for What is this? Altruism, a specific area. Then I go back and start reading the research already conducted on altruism. I will get some more clarity about that. Some more clarity about that, about the altruism. While reading this altruism, I may find some of the gaps in the knowledge. Then I can choose one of the gaps as my area of research. This is one way of finding the problem. Okay. The second thing is, we were with your common sense, we are looking so many things around. Why the elderly people are not happy in spite of their financial independency and all the things? Why they are always, they look worried? What are the reasons? Through why people are not staying in their children's homes? Why children are not accepting them? These are with my common sense. I may find some problems. I can come across with some problems. When there is a gap in knowledge, I may get a problem. Or because of my common sense, I may come across with a problem. And thirdly, while there are so many projects are being given by the government on some of the things, I can whether this project is working well or not. What is the effect of this project? So many. What is that for aged people helplines and Helpage India is there, like that. So many for Child Protection Acts. There are so many commissions are there. They introduced so many new bills and all the things are there. In protection, well-being of the children, well-being of the children. So I can identify some of the projects and I can find out some of the assessing those, evaluating those existing policies. That's also a research. You can also find out whether this project which is being given by the government is whether it is working well or not. What is the impact factor in this? So these are another area of research. So I will come across with a problem by these three methods. This is the first step of getting a problem. So after that, you have to, after choosing one of the problems, you have to do lot of review of research on that particular area. Second step, if you do some review of research on the particular area, you will get more clarity about the problem. More clarity about the problem which you have chosen. So we are studying so many studies conducted, already conducted in that area, which gives more clarity about the problem. For that, I have to go through some of the research studies conducted in the particular area. So this is the second level. We have to do review of research. You will get a problem. After getting the problem, after you have chosen the problem, you do in-depth review of research for identifying. So you got a problem. You stated the problem. You have to state the problem, and then you have to do review of research. Then you have to state the problem. After stating the problem, you have to write down some of the objectives. What exactly I want to study? What are the exact things I want to study here? This you should have a clarity. You should have a research design. Research design means from starting with the problem to the end, you should have a blueprint of your research. This blueprint of research is called as what are the variables you are taking, what are the what is that? What are the statistics you are going to use? What are the methodology you have to use? You want to use? What are the tools you want to use? All this you should have a plan. This is called as a research design. You should have a research design. So after doing a problem selection and a review of research, you will develop a research design. In this, you will find out, you will state the problem, you will state the problem and also the variables what you are going to study. Variables what you are going to study. So whatever is the study, if it is a descriptive thing, what are the key things you are going to study? If it is a cause and effect relationships, You have to find out what do you want to change and what do you want to observe. Independent and dependent variables and extraneous variables. You have to think about the variables and you have to conduct. These are the steps you have to follow. After doing the review of research and finding a sample by using some sampling techniques, depending upon the availability of time, availability of finances, you will choose a sample by using one of the sampling techniques from the population. You might be knowing what is population and what is sample. Population is the entire units of study of your problem. But as we cannot study all the things, we will take some of the um, some of the units are sample and we will do observations. Interviews we will conduct. Interview is one of the methods. Observation is one method. We'll conduct case studies is one of the methods. Depending upon the problem, you define all the variables and you can find out, you will be clear about the variables. What do you want to find out? If it is a descriptive, you have to describe everything. If it is a uh, exploratory, you have to find out the cause and effect relationship. What is causing? Exploratory, you are exploring the cause and effect relationships. You have to do that like that. You have to understand that based on the time and availability of finances, you have to select a sample. After selecting a sample, because you are having a research design with you, you have to administer the tools which you have chosen to the sample. Whatever the tools you have selected, you have to use them, use them to the sample. We have to use them to the sample. After that, after that, uh, after using these tools, you have to you have to find out the results. You will get the results. Then you will get, after administering the tools, you will get the data and you will analyze the data. You will get certain results. Then you have to interpret the results and make the conclusions. So these are the entire procedure. Whatever you are using in a psychology, we can use here also. So selection of the problem, first thing, and then making hypothesis. Sometimes you'll make hypothesis, sometimes you don't. And then going for review of literature, and then third, methodology. In methodology, you go for population, sample, and objectives of your research, and then the tools you have used and the procedure you have used for collecting data, and mention the what statistical you want to use. This is up to the methodology. After that, you have to go for results and discussion. You have to what I can say, you have to use you have to interpret the results, whatever you 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 have obtained in the from the sample. You have to interpret the results by using the, it is a quantitative or qualitative, whatever is that. With your discussion, you have to interpret the results and discuss why this thing happened, what may be the reasons, like that. So these are, and you will get, finally you will get summary, you will get the conclusions. So this is the entire research process. And while presenting the research thing, you have to add the bibliography too. So these are the total research processes, research process which you use in psychology too. This is the research process we use in psychology. Designing of experimental design is very important. What type of design you are having, depending upon the type of research, you have to develop a design. Design. If you get a proper design of your research, you are totally aware of what you are going to do. This is like a blueprint of a house construction. In house construction, you will have plan, house plan. Similarly, the research plan is called as research design. So that if you think about that later, you cannot make that. Whatever data you want to collect, you want to collect the data at a time. So that's why here what is given is research design is important. After designing the thing, you can get the conclusions and all that. So this is the process of research you have to do based on the type of research. Means whether it is a descriptive, predictive, correlational, or pure, or if it is a survey research, what are the statistics which you are going to use? That also should be mentioned in your research plan and make the conclusions. And this is the and give suggestions for further research. This is the entire research process you have to do. You have to do in positive psychology too. So this is given in your second chapter, I think, regarding research methods and assessment in positive psychology. So you should understood what is assessment. Assessment means here, assessment means we can assess a person's happiness through test, through observations, through some other sources too. So by his own self reports also you can understand their happiness. So assessments means the evaluating a activity through different sources, not one source. When it comes to a test, if I give a personality test or intelligence test, intelligence is not assessment. Intelligence is a test. I am I am measuring your intelligence. I am assessing means along with intelligence, I am doing so many other things too, related things. Then it is assessment. So in positive psychology, we do tests, we do assessment also in research. We do assessment also in the research. So this is about research methods in positive psychology. Now, there is one more thing I will finish. This is on Western and Eastern perspectives of Western and Eastern perspectives on positive psychology. This is, I told you, the positive psychology concepts are based on our culture. There is a cultural difference between West and East. There are Western philosophers are there. Philosophy is a science of knowledge which tells you how an individual has to behave. The behavior only. Philosophy also tells how an individual has to perform in the society. So we will say there are Indian views as well as Western views. There is so much of difference in their views. It also has an impact on our uh, subject, positive psychology, that is happiness and well-being. What is the criteria what we use as happiness? What is the criteria Western countries use as happiness? So let me say first what are the differences. So Western countries in Eastern Indian view and Western view. So we use a holistic view. We use a holistic community centered. That means it is a holistic world view. We make the community as one, as all our principles of behavior are used for the welfare of the community. Community means society. Society, not community, society. So society welfare is our basic nature, and the holistic organismic world view. Holistic us. So that's why we said Vasudeika Kutumbam means society as one family. So our view is like that Indian view, whereas Western view is a individual centered view. they are always focus on individual growth, individual development. We focus on society's growth, world growth. So this is the first difference of Indian and Western view. And so we will have uh, relationships are very important in Indian society, whereas in they are self and fixed and strong boundaries they are having. So we are having social relationships, and the traditional concept of a person is to live in the relationship, whereas they are this is not with the Western countries. And non-linear growth of life we focus, whereas belief in progress and growth. Western countries, that's why most of the research findings and innovations are from West only. Belief in progress and growth. Um, Here, social individualism is there, liberal individualism, social individualism here in India, in Indian view, whereas Western countries, there are liberal individualism, liberal and free nation. Those are free nations. So emphasis on self-discipline. We emphasize on self-discipline, whereas Western countries, they emphasize on self-interest, pursuit of wants, and the consumerism as important values. Having more latest cars, latest things as the consumerism as the important thing, self-interest, whereas we emphasize on self-discipline. That's why in India we respect saints who are totally self-disciplined. We respect in Western countries the person with having a lot of materialistic possession, self-interest, consumerism as an important value, and they grow like that. They grow like that. That's why their contribution to the world is more. We are more focused on self-discipline. We are more focused on self-disciplined. So, uh, so we are having a shared and a relational notion of control, relational notion of control, whereas a personalized notion of control. So, we talk knowledge as moral and sacred, whereas knowledge as a secular. They thought it's value free knowledge, value free knowledge. It's the innovation of a bomb, value free knowledge. They want. We want to share the knowledge of moral and sacred. So there is a lot of difference in the cultural beliefs of Western countries and Indian perspective. But there is a comparison. This culture has an impact on our happiness and well-being of the individual. They focus more on individual development, whereas we focus on control, social control. This is more, they want to have self-interest is more important for them. So that's why the family system is very strong in India, whereas the family, once a family means it is a permanent system in India, whereas family is not a permanent system in Western countries. They don't, that is mostly dependent upon the relationships, and uh, they don't view it as a permanent system. Self-interest is more important, self-respect is more important than the family rules there. So because of all these differences in the Indian and Western perspective, still, still the positive psychology is focusing on the items which are universal. Like hope is a universal concept. Altruism is a universal concept. So for attaining all this, they have used certain methodologies like mindfulness, yoga, all these things are also being given by Western psychologists. So because all of us know that you can't say that this is Indian and this is Western nowadays. Because of the, I think, economic globalization, that is economic policy, globalization, the economic policy, which was introduced in 1992 or somewhere like that. The entire, there are 195 countries, I think, 195, 196 countries, they signed on this agreement, and where the cross country business is being uh, you can do cross country business without the permission. The free cross country business is being accepted agreement in that agreement, where anybody can start his business in any other country without permission, because they agreed. Because of this, lot of competition developed. Globalization, there is competition, enhanced competition, which all changed our way of life, and we are not at, hence there is a need for this happiness, International Happiness Day. We have forgotten about the happiness, running after competition, and because of the opportunities, enhanced opportunities are there. We are seeing so many opportunities, but when enter into that, there is neck to neck competition, which is creating stress and all that thing. Now people understood by 20 years. So 90s, I think in 89 or 90s, this globalization started, the process of globalization, and the because of IT industry, I can see, because of cultural mingling is also taking place because of globalization. We can't say this is Indian culture and this is Western culture. That's why most of the people say, even though there are cultural roots for the next generation of people who are what is Z generation, that is who are born after 2000, Z generation people. There is no specific culture they are having. They are being brought up in a global culture. Global culture. Global culture, everything is there. Indian culture, Eastern culture is there, Western culture is there. It's a mingling of Eastern and Western culture. What are the best things in both the cultures? You have to imbibe in the next generation, and that is the state of condition at present which is existing. So hence, even though there are cultural norms which are existing in India, which are almost similar to the positive psychology, and which are being focused on sustainable happiness. Number of theories are developed for sustainable happiness. How a person can be happy all through his life? What are the principles? What are the behavior he has to do to develop that? More than 13 models are being developed by this positive psychologists to have sustainable happiness. This, on this happiness day, they used to publicize all this. Seligman has given the PERMA model. Similarly, many of the models, this PERMA model is being used widely, and so this is the thing which our students are being displaying and all the other classes also. This is for sustainable happiness alone is not sufficient. You should have immediate happiness also for every day, like doing something which gives you happiness, singing a song, or participating in listening a song, or making a drawing, or making some mindful exercises, whatever is that which gives you happiness. This is subjective happiness, but we should not go for negative things for subjective happiness like alcohol. So one of the student asked, You are telling that dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins all will release when we are happy, and all these are the health hormones which help you for your health. Why don't you use alcohol? Even foreign, what he asked is about foreign website. Watching that produces dopamine. Why don't you use that? So the consequences of this immediate gratification they are getting, what are the consequences of that? Their cognitive health will be affected. Cognitive mind will be in a confused state, which creates a lot of stress. So we have to go over things which gives us immediate happiness, and at the same time, which should not have negative consequences. This is important. Immediate happiness is also important. Every day we should have immediate happiness, but we have to think about the consequences of that and do the things which gives you immediate happiness, and then go back, think about the sustainable, and think about some of the activities which gives us sustainable happiness. So this is the basic things about positive psychology, and I covered some of the things. There is a lot of discussion on Eastern and Western psychology, and there are differences are there, and because this is totally culturally bound. So here, as Seligman said, it is good life, it is happiness, and it is flourishing, which is needed. For that, you have to work for the sustainable character of all these things, happiness and well-being. So tomorrow we will finish the other units. So if you have any, what I can say that any questions or any things, any interaction, you can ask some of the details, not about positive psychology. I think you are thinking about that, but this is a thought-provoking subject. Thought-provoking subject. How we can be happy? Why we are not happy? Happiness is the goal of life. As psychology says, Freud says hedonistic principle. Happiness as goal of life. So he also said present happiness and future happiness. We work and we do everything either for present happiness or for future happiness. So hedonistic principle was given by Freud then only. And at present, the positive psychology is also focusing on how to develop happiness. Then he has given us, he has not given any procedures for developing happiness, but he said the people work on hedonistic principle. But the positive psychology gives us the process of developing happiness, the processes of developing wellness, well-being among the people, to which enhances our physical health, cognitive health, and also our social health and spiritual health and flourishing personality. You will have long run flourishing personality. So you should be able, you should develop resilience too. Whatever the crisis situations you will come across, you can overcome by this positive attributes, positive personality traits. So anything you can ask? Any interaction? Anybody is there? Is there anybody? Right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we are there.
Yes, yes, yes. Is there any clarifying? Yes. Any question?
No, ma'am.
No? Why no? Why no question? So, yes. If you have any other questions, tomorrow we will go to the other units of positive psychology. Now I have given you the foundations of first, I think 3 units we covered, not 3 units. 3 units, Eastern and Western perspectives, and we have not even to the first block only we are doing. Tell you about the, I'll just cover in 10 minutes the next character strength and virtues and interpersonal strength and well-being. These are the things which you have to cover. So he has given this, Seligman has given a list of character strengths and virtues. He has given every individual used to have certain character strengths. What are the character strengths, and for measuring these character strengths? So you can identify your character strength and focus on to develop that. Instead of thinking about your weaknesses, you have to think on your strengths and weaknesses. For that, he has given a, 6 areas of strengths. Character strengths he has given as wisdom and knowledge. So, wisdom and knowledge, if you are having wisdom and knowledge, it works as your strength. Do you know how much wisdom and knowledge you are having is a strength? So, at proper times of crisis, it helps you, it is a strength. Because I am having knowledge is a strength. Wisdom is a strength. So, how do you develop this? How do you assess this? And you are based on your creativity and love of learning and your curiosity, all this determines your strength of wisdom and knowledge. If you are having all this, it leads to happiness. Do you have this? You can just simply, you can do it yourself, regarding yourself, because even though we are having so many strengths, we don't know what strength we are having. Hence, make it into a, of course, there is a regular scale is there. Before that, if you take one of the thing like wisdom and knowledge, it's in the page number 97, wisdom and knowledge, you put it into 1, 2, 3. That particular strength I am having, 1 means low, 3 means high, 2 means average. You can self-assess, introspect yourself and find out how much you are having wisdom and knowledge. So under this has given some of the subunits also. Then courage. How bravery comes under courage. So as you said, if you are afraid of anything, fear is one of the important thing, which is a very, very negative personality trait, which makes us feel afraid of anything and we don't prosper at all. So this is second thing is courage. Courage gives persistence. Persistence, integrity, and vitality. Integrity, vitality, all these are being given by your courage. And thirdly, humanity. How much human you are. Humanity tries how much you are having. 1, 2, 3. Identify yourself. And justice means how much you can work in a team. Can you do teamwork? 1, 2, 3. And fairness, how fair you are. And the leadership traits, how much you are having. This is like this, they have given 24 strengths. 24 strengths are given. You read that strength and how much you are having, you assess it on 1, 2, 3 category, 1 being the lowest and 3 being the highest. So you will get among the 24 how many threes you got. Means these are the characters you are having. Those are your strengths. Among those threes, you select 5 or 6. Those are called as your signature strengths. Even though I am having 10 strengths, these 5 strengths are being called among the 3 category. The highest, the things, 5 things are, 5 strengths are called as personality strength. Suppose I am having wisdom and knowledge as a personality, as a strength. As a strength, this is one of the strengths. Second thing is I'm having courage as another strength. Like that, there are 24 strengths are given here. So the main purpose of this positive psychology is to develop these positive traits. For that, self-assessment is very important. They identified certain of the strengths, personality, characters, and strengths through research. I told you research also they are adding some of the personality traits. So through research they identified certain personality traits and they thought of inculcating this, identifying that. So from now onwards I work on this strength. Whatever is the strength or virtue you are having, definitely it helps you to prosper in some of the area. If I am having a strength of humanity, I can be a political person, I can be a community worker, I can be a social worker, I can do some of the activities of the society with leadership. Like that, you identify that here the important thing is this is Clinton's strength finder. Online, this test is there. Clinton's strength finder test is there online. You can go through this test and you can find out and assess yourself. And he also given the assets, what assets you are having, what assets you are having. Asset is different from strength. That is your personal strength. And what are the assets you are having? I am having like that family support I am having. Family support is an asset. And similarly, I am having caring neighborhood. Caring neighborhood is an asset. And uh, community values youth. Community values youth are in the community. That is the strength asset to the, that is not individual strength. It is an asset. We should have both strength as well as assets. Like that, he has given external assets, internal assets you are having, and all this. If you find out this unit, you have to do it by yourself and find out what strength you are having. This self introspection will definitely help you to identify your strengths and flourish on those things, work on those, where I can use this. Every strength, whatever strength you are having, you can use it somewhere and you can get the benefit of that, provided in one thing you have to remember, in all globalization process, the very important thing is initiative is important. Having strength is not sufficient. You have to show it. Nobody comes to you and find out your strength. You have to take an initiative to show your strengths. This is important. Self-efficacy, what you should be able to present it. Having strength is not sufficient unless you present it. This is a personality of initiative. Taking an initiative is being assertive and telling, be confident about your, if you are confident and you believe in your strengths, then also believe in your strength and show them and present them to others so that you can get the benefit of that strength. So otherwise you don't get the benefit of that strength. Okay, this is a Clinton's scale, Clinton strength identification. There are strengths as well as assets. This all gives you positive feelings. If you think that so many assets I am having, internal assets, most of the time we feel that we don't have anything. We are having so many internal strength assets, external assets, financial assets are different. Asset is having a good neighbor is an asset. Having a community integrated youth is around us is an asset. So you can find out all these assets and then you can find out this test. You do it for yourself by next class and tell me that how you felt about this test regarding yourself. I'm not telling you going for the regular online test, but do it yourself and approximately what are the strengths you are having, what are the best strengths you are having, how I can utilize it, what are the assets you are having. Make a list of your assets and make a list of your strengths. How much I am using, how much I have to use it in future. How can I use it? This you can have a discussion and you can find out. Right. So this is about the present thing. From tomorrow, I will tell you the other aspects. In another 3 hours, I have to do this. I will do that. Next class, whatever.
Madam, అయిపోయిందా?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please on the cameras of all the students, please. We'll take one photograph. Please on your video. గోపాల్ గారు తీసారా?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, madam. Thank you. Once again, we'll meet on Thursday, 21st, again 3 to 5. Thursday, madam, 21st. Okay, madam. అదే ఆల్రెడీ మనం షెడ్యూల్ చేస్తున్నాం.
Okay.
థర్స్డే.
Okay, sir.
ఓకేనా మేడం?
Right. Okay, sir.
ఓకే. 21st, 3 to 5, madam, again.
Okay.
Okay. Now we can leave. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.